I waited my whole life to do everything right. I believed purity would protect me. I never imagined marriage would be the thing that broke me. My name is Rachel Moore. I am 29 years old, and I grew up in a quiet, traditional town where people believed rules mattered more than feelings. My parents were deeply religious and very strict. They believed love was sacred and dangerous at the same time. They taught me that a woman's heart was something to protect, not to explore. From a very young age, they told me the same thing again and again. Love before marriage destroys lives. A good woman waits. Marriage is the only safe place for love. I listened. I believed them. I grew up careful, obedient, and quiet. I never dated, I never held a man's hand, I never stayed out late, I never went to parties. I didn't feel sad about it. I felt proud. At college, my friends lived very different lives. They talked about breakups, kisses, and weekends they barely remembered. Sometimes they laughed at me. "You're missing out, Rachel," they said. But I didn't feel like I was missing anything. I believed I was saving everything. I dreamed of one man, one marriage, one life. I believed love would be gentle, patient, and safe if I waited long enough. That belief shaped every part of who I was. Then one ordinary afternoon, my life quietly changed. I was sitting in a small coffee shop near campus reading a book when a man asked if the seat across from me was free. His name was Nathan Reed. He was tall, well-dressed and calm, not loud, not pushy, just confident in a way that felt steady. When he smiled, I felt something warm in my chest. We talked about simple things, books, work, life. He told me I looked peaceful. No man had ever said that to me before. I went home that day thinking about his smile. Later, I told my friend Lauren about him. Her face changed immediately. "Rachel, please be careful," she warned. "That man has a reputation. He doesn't stay with one woman." I laughed it off. I wanted to believe Nathan was different. He started calling me every day. He sent messages in the morning and at night. He brought flowers to my door. He told me I was rare, special, not like other women. Slowly, my heart opened. I prayed about him. I truly believed God had sent him to me. One evening, Nathan took me to a beautiful restaurant. Candlelight, soft music. He told me I looked beautiful. I felt shy but happy. When he drove me home, he parked outside my house and looked at me quietly. "Rachel," he said softly, "I can't stop thinking about you." Before I could respond, he leaned in. His lips touched mine. It was my first kiss. I had waited my entire life for that moment. I should have pulled away. I should have stopped him. But I didn't. When it ended, my heart was racing. I felt joy and fear. That night, I barely slept. The next day, I told him the truth. "I want to wait," I said. "Until marriage." He looked into my eyes and smiled. "Then I'll marry you," he said. Soon, my heart believed him. A week later, he called with excitement. "I have to travel to Las Vegas for work," he said. "Come with me. Let's get married there." No waiting, no fear. It felt unreal. My dream was happening. I said yes. We flew together. The city was loud and bright. I felt nervous, but Nathan held my hand. I wore a simple white dress. No guests, no family. Just us. We stood in a small chapel. We became husband and wife. That night something felt wrong. Nathan drank too much. He took phone calls in another room. He didn't look at me the same way. I sat on the bed, married, but alone. The next morning he said the words that shattered everything. I want a divorce. I stood there, frozen, staring at Nathan as if I had misunderstood his words. A divorce? I whispered, Nathan, we just got married. This is our first morning. He didn't look at me. He buttoned his shirt slowly, like we were talking about the weather, not my entire life. This was a mistake, he said flatly. You're not what I thought you were. My chest tightened. What does that mean? I asked. You said you loved me. You said we would build a life together. He finally turned to me. His eyes were cold. You're too innocent, he said. Too simple. You waited your whole life for marriage, and now you expect some fairy tale. That's not my world. I felt like the floor disappeared beneath my feet. You promised, I said. My voice was shaking. You told me waiting mattered to you. He laughed once, not kindly. You actually believed that? He asked. Tears blurred my vision. I stood there frozen, staring at Nathan as if I had misunderstood his words. A divorce? I whispered. Nathan, we just got married. This is our first morning. He didn't look at me. He buttoned his shirt slowly, like we were talking about the weather, not my entire life. This was a mistake, he said flatly. You're not what I thought you were. My chest tightened. What does that mean? I asked. You said you loved me. You said we would build a life together. He finally turned to me. His eyes were cold. You're too innocent, he said. Too simple. You waited your whole life for marriage, and now you expect some fairy tale. That's not my world. I felt like the floor disappeared beneath my feet. You promised, I said. My voice was shaking. You told me waiting mattered to you, he laughed once. Not kindly. You actually believed that? He asked. Tears blurred my vision. This was real to me, I said. You were my first everything. That's exactly the problem, he replied. I don't want responsibility. I don't want purity. I don't want this. He grabbed his jacket. I'll arrange the papers, he said. You'll hear from my lawyer. Then he walked out. Just like that. I sat on the bed for hours staring at the door. I didn't scream. I didn't cry at first. I couldn't. My mind kept repeating the same thought again and again. I did everything right. How did everything go so wrong? By evening, reality hit me like a wave. I was married. I was abandoned. And I was alone in a city where I knew no one. I returned home 2 days later. Alone. When my parents saw me standing at the door with my suitcase, their faces hardened. What did you do? My mother asked sharply. I tried to explain. I told them everything. The marriage, the divorce, the betrayal. They didn't hug me. They didn't comfort me. You rushed into sin, my father said. You embarrassed this family. My mother turned away. You made your choice, she said. Now live with it. That night I slept in my childhood room, feeling like a stranger in my own home. The next morning they asked me to leave. I had nowhere to go. My friend Lauren took me in. She gave me a small room in her apartment and never asked questions. She just said, "You're safe here." I started working at a bookstore to survive. Long hours, quiet shelves, heavy thoughts. I tried to forget Nathan. Then one afternoon, everything changed again. I was standing at the counter when I saw his face, on the cover of a magazine. Nathan Reed, smiling, powerful, surrounded by cameras. The headline made my hands shake. Business tycoon Nathan Reed's secret marriage revealed. Secret marriage? I grabbed the magazine. Nathan wasn't just some traveling professional. He was rich. famous, influential. The article talked about his companies, his lifestyle, his public image. And then, one line at the bottom, a brief, unconfirmed marriage in Las Vegas. My stomach turned. So that's what I was, a secret. A mistake he wanted erased. That night I cried harder than I ever had before. Not because I missed him, but because I finally understood. He didn't leave because I wasn't enough. He left because I was inconvenient. Something inside me shifted. For the first time I felt anger, not shame. I went to a lawyer the next day. I showed him my marriage certificate. He looked at it carefully, then looked at me. "This marriage is legal," he said, "and you have rights." I wasn't asking for revenge. I was asking for justice. When Nathan received the legal notice, he called me immediately. "You think you can take my money?" he snapped. I held the phone tightly. "You took my dignity," I said calmly. "I'm taking what the law allows." I hung up. The story exploded. Reporters came. Questions spread. Nathan's perfect image cracked. The case took months, but I didn't give up. In the end, I won. The court ruled in my favor, not just money, but acknowledgement that I mattered, that what he did was wrong. When my parents heard about the case, they called me. "Please come home," my mother said softly. "We forgive you." I closed my eyes. "I love you," I replied, "but I need to live my own life now." I used the settlement to rebuild myself. A small apartment, returning to my studies, a quiet life built on truth. I still believed in love. But now I understood something important. Love without respect is not love, and purity without choice is not strength. I was no longer the girl who waited in fear. I was a woman who chose herself. Years passed quietly, not loudly, not dramatically, but peacefully. I built a life that was mine. I finished my studies. I found work I enjoyed. I filled my home with light, books, and calm mornings. Sometimes people asked me if I regretted waiting, if I regretted believing in love so deeply. I never did, because my values were never the mistake. Trusting the wrong person was. I learned that purity is not weakness, kindness is not foolish, and faith does not mean silence. Real love does not rush you. It does not pressure you. It does not use your innocence as a weapon. Real love protects. Real love respects. Real love stays. One day, while walking through the town where I once felt so small, I realized something important. I was no longer broken. I was wiser, stronger, free. I did not lose my heart. I reclaimed it. And if you are listening to this story while doubting yourself, remember this. Waiting for respect is never wrong. Choosing yourself is never selfish. And healing is the bravest decision you will ever make. And this time, my life belongs to me. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your story matters too.